Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thizel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Time. As I get to ride home with you in the afternoon, we get to share thoughts and we get to share ideas and all kinds of wonderful things. You can find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates. You can also find us on television, 182 on Charter. You can also find us on Abundant Television Syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast. You know, Gunny and I are both part of this podcast. It's the newscasters.com. It's called the Newscaster Studio, and I'm always so privileged to be with them. It's just an amazing thing where you can actually go out and hear the truth, even if it rubs you the wrong way. I'd rather be told the truth than to be told some fancy, weird something that's not the truth. So, and I'm pretty sure you guys are the same way, or you wouldn't be listening to this show, but we appreciate you doing that. Continue sending emails. I treasure each one. It's right there under my name, Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna at donnasedge.com. I have with me a good friend. His name is Bud Caldwell. Well, we call him Gunny. And military, you got it all going on for you. I don't know that because we're friends, I hardly ever think to tell you, but I do appreciate your service. You know that.
Thank you. Absolutely. Appreciate it.
The Patriot Cause, which is also syndicated on our
Newscasters
as well.
Yeah, Newscasters. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, we never run out of things to talk about, do we, Gunny?
No. I wish we did, because then everything would be peachy, right? And be difficult to talk about, bad stuff. We would talk about great stuff, which would be awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about all the good stuff in your community and, just being involved in life. But we have to struggle with that. Mm-hmm. And we have to try to get more people to understand that, we're in dire straits. We don't want to do this. Donna, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to do this. But God has brought me into this media world for that purpose, specifically trying to get more Americans to understand that our country is actually being taken over by communists. And we have to understand that. Okay, so you live in the backwoods of Alabama and it doesn't affect you. No, it does. It affects everybody. If it affects our federal government, if it affects our state government, local government, if you have communist people that think like communists that are involved in all this, it affects you. And it does affect us in Alabama, whether you know it or not.
Well, some people, Gunny, would say, well, something it affects very little. It's not affecting me. I'll be okay, But what about your kids and your grandkids? What about your nieces and nephews? What about your neighbors? What about the people you go to church with, the young families that it's going to affect them big time?
Oh, absolutely. You think about myself, I have 2 children, 6 grandchildren. Think about them all the time. And how do I cope with this? How do I understand this? I go back when I was their age, when I was a teenager, when I became an adult. And I was more concerned about, going on a date with a girl, per se, right? Than worried about whether or not, the economy is going to destroy my life and how much everything costs and gas and etc. And you're thinking, well, you're educated and you've been around a while, so you can kind of see that. No, everybody is seeing this, even teenagers. And the reason I say that is because there's a 17-year-old awesome young man that is in our church, and he recognizes all of this, and he's 17 years old.
Smart.
And he's worried about his future, and I think about it going, why does this 17-year-old person have to worry about this when we didn't have to? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
This is the impact of what's going on in our country. Even our young teenage and 20-year-olds are understanding, I don't know my future. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I can go to college. I don't know
Mhm.
if, the government is going to take my house or take my land. And sorry, but this is the world we live in.
Well, you know something, even if you've been living under a rock, and so you just saw this hurricane that happened, and I have some questions about how it jumped over Atlanta and just tore the shreds out of Asheville, North Carolina. I've got some questions about that. But anyway, that'll be another time. But I just want to say, if nothing else, so we go to the Cowboy Church. Philip Gilliland is over the
Awesome.
American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. And so he got in contact with me last Monday and was pretty upset because they always, in any disaster, floods, whatever happens, tornadoes, whatever, they're always there with their chuck wagons, and they're always there bringing food. They're always bringing water, whatever. So FEMA actually confiscated all of those things,
Yep.
and not just the Cowboy Church, but other churches as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think you really want the government? I would rather have the church help me. I don't want the government helping me.
All right. So that's a great way to segue into what I'm going to talk about here.
Okay.
All right. If you go back to the beginning of this country, there was this thing called the Federalist Papers,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was kind of like the beginning of the country. But again, it was government power that was put in there. And the founding father says, no, we need to develop a constitution that is for the people, limited government, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what they did, and it did a great job at that. And the point I'm getting at here is this, is the responsibility of human beings on this planet is to take care of each other. The government has basically one primary role, is to keep our country safe. That's it. That's what the Constitution basically tells them, is to, allow citizens to live free, elect their state representatives. The states have the power, again, back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and the federal government is just to ensure that the foreign dignitaries or foreign nations do not attack our country and force us into tyranny, etc. That's how it all started.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're seeing is the exact opposite. FEMA says, well, we're going here to help you. Well, why are you stopping citizens helping each other?
Exactly.
Wouldn't you think that maybe the right way is FEMA and the citizens kind of work together to focus on those in need instead of the bureaucracy power of FEMA? This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a government that wants to have total control of everything that goes on in this country, including emergency, disaster recovery, and so forth. If we had to rely...
Yeah, but it takes forever for them to do anything. Like you got your Cowboy Church is already there. They're there already trying to hand out water and food and supplies to people before the government can even get in there, because they've got to go through 10 commands of 10 different people before they can even give you a bottle of water. The Cowboy Church just goes up there and here you go. We got it.
That's because there's no bureaucracy. It's true love of taking care of your citizen. Mm-hmm. Here's another example. 6 days after this event, which is very, very unusual, because the majority of the time, even the government knows these events are going to happen. Hurricanes come in, so they prepare ahead of time. They stand up the National Guard and say, okay, as soon as this thing sweeps through, you're going in, and you're going, just like they did in Katrina, right? The National Guard was there the very next day. 6 days later, the National Guard finally shows up in North Carolina. I'm telling you, here's the reason why. It's because they had a Democrat governor attached to the hip of Kamala Harris. It's that simple. Bureaucracy at its best.
Well, let me mention this about North Carolina, because we lived there for a very long time, like 9-something years. Okay, here's my big question. When the last election happened, okay, so they elect this liberal governor, and I don't think the people there did. But anyway, I have a question about this, because now we're at a pivotal point in this country where it's 50-50, okay? So people are either Democrat or they're Republican. There's no in betweens. It's either one or the other. How, in an election cycle, when most people will vote straight ticket for whoever they care for, how did you get the most liberal governor on earth in North Carolina and then the most awesome conservative lieutenant governor that they're trying to destroy, by the way? How did that happen? Do you really, in all honesty, do you think that they're going to vote, well, I think I want the liberal for the governor, then I want the conservative for the lieutenant governor? That don't happen.
Nope. That's very, very seldom that does happen. But I am thankful, and I think is that God has a hand in what's going on. Mm-hmm. I really believe this, because if you look across the voting cycles of different senators and representatives within states, attorney generals, etc., it's turning. These people are standing up and saying, we have got to get into office. And it's just interesting. I don't know, Donald, if this has ever happened before. And, maybe it has, where you have, a Democrat governor and a conservative.
That does not make sense. I'm just saying, if I go in and I go to a place and I vote, and they ask me if I'm Republican or Democrat, I'm going to say Republican. I'm not going to say give me 2 ballots, because on some I'm going to do Democrat, some I'm going to be Republican. That doesn't happen, because we're at that stage right now where people are all or nothing. They're all either all Republican or they're all Democrat. That's the way it is now.
Right. So I'm up front. I'm not a racist, never have been. The only explanation that I can see is the lieutenant governor is a black man.
Yeah.
And he was able to approach those Democrat voters that voted for the governor and thinking, well, he's going to support.
Yeah, but they have two different sets of core beliefs, though. How is that possible? I mean, because I would vote for the Republican to be governor if I'm going to vote for the Republican to be lieutenant governor. Yeah,
but,
that just
it goes back to, well, you got to think about, this country must understand the impact of what happened with Obama, right? He said very distinctly that he is going to fundamentally change America.
Well, he's doing it.
And how do you do that? You separate us.
You get everybody mad.
You get everybody mad at each other. Exactly. So what that creates is you never know in the political world who is going to come into the system. And unfortunately, because of this, many people don't know this. There are 8 people in Congress, and Congress being the House and the Senate, that are actually card-carrying communists. How in God's name does that happen in this country? It's because the Obama administration has fundamentally changed the minds of Americans to where their background, their history, their life is irrelevant. What he did was put propaganda within the political system. In other words, lying is okay. It's absolutely
They
okay.
call it misremembering. They made up a word. Okay.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I misremembered that. No, you didn't. You totally lied.
But it's
And
okay.
nobody will say, and they call it being statesmanship. Not to say, because I would love to see somebody like that and say, no, it's not misremembering anything, sir. You lied. You just out and out lied. And madam, because we had Hillary Clinton who misremembered as well. I wonder if I had teachers that I just lied to and I just said something like, oh, I misremembered. What do you think my teachers back in the day would have done? They would have picked up the phone and called my parents. They would have said, you need to beat her to death because she is lying.
Yep.
Back in my day.
Well, it's the atmosphere is different.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by atmosphere, the involvement of citizens in the political realm has become turmoil to everybody because we don't know. It doesn't matter what side you're on now. You don't really know what the truth is anymore. And discernment used to be based on, a background of a candidate. What have they done to get to where they're at? And what are they going to do to, get into office to actually support you?
Mm-hmm. So
now, instead of the background of who that person is, what they've done in their life, Tommy Tuberfield's a great example. Great American, done some great things in Alabama, head coach, etc. Right? He progressed in his life, and he ran for the Senate and said, "This is what I'm going to do," and he's doing what he said that he's going to do. So that's a good example. It doesn't matter whether they're, conservative or Democrat. If these people go into office through that same type of process, then the political system works like it should. But the difference now is they don't care. People don't care about your background. They don't care if you're a communist. They don't care if you've, was in jail, et cetera, et cetera. All they want to know is the lies that you're going to tell them so they can vote for you to get into office. They don't do research anymore.
Mm-mm.
They just, like you're talking about, check the box all the way down Democrat, all the way down Republican, and they have no freaking clue, who they're voting for.
Yeah, but something. This is what I always talk about, Gunny, and it's a common sense thing basically, and a lot of people, because they hear all this stupid stuff on the news media about Trump, they think he's really done all this. But discernment to me means, like, I have to wonder why they hate him so much. I mean, that's one thing right there. Why do they hate him so much that they want him dead? Why can't they just run on their own merit? Why can't people, when you go to a community event or whatever you go to, why can't you just ask a question? Tell us what you have done in the past and tell us what you're planning to do that should make me want to cast my vote towards you. If all I hear from you is belly bashing the other candidate instead of talking about what you can do and what you've done, I think I'm going to check out the other person.
No, absolutely. And the thing about Trump is this. He already did 4 years as the president.
He's already done it. And this is
right. He turned around the Obama administration of 8 years and started
in a few months.
And yes, just
in
like
record
that.
Time.
So he's already proven himself.
Oh, and this is another thing, Gunny. Let me ask you what you think about this. Okay, all I can hear on the left, when I'm talking to anybody from the left, all they can say is, "Oh, well, Trump just wants to be a king. He wants to be the ruler of the world." No, couldn't he have done it in the first 4 years?
Sure.
Wouldn't we have? We wouldn't have had an election if they were if what people were saying that he was. And isn't that true? Does that not make sense?
Well,
do it the first 4 years.
All of these people that we're talking about that hate Trump are attached. The majority of them are attached to the media, the mainstream media, which is full-blown propaganda. It's no longer about news. Right. It's about feeding false information to people to hate this person. So let me ask you this, and I heard this with Mark Levin, which I think is very, very important for us to understand. Do you hate Trump so much that you're unwilling to love your country? Because this is what it is, right? The propaganda has been put into these people so intensely that America is so bad. How do you resolve that? You hate Trump, right? If I hate Trump, then I can make America like I want it to be and not like it should be. That's the main thing that we're talking about here. And when I heard that from Mark Levin, I was like, now I get it.
Spot on. Yeah.
You know, there are many, many millions of people in this country. I'm not talking about the illegal aliens. That's a whole different discussion. I'm talking about everyday Americans that have been here for years and their centuries with their families, all of a sudden have accepted this idea that America is bad. But it's not. I mean, if you drive through this country over and over again, like Trump does, you know, you see what the truth is. Americans love this country. We love our background. And it doesn't matter what color or creed you are. This is why the only thing the left can stand on is actually destroying the truth of America. Therefore, you do that, then you can destroy Trump. This is the whole plan, which, by the way, has been backed up by the globalists, the elites, to push that propaganda into a point where people believe that Trump is an actual enemy of the United States. When, of course, we know all you got to do is watch his rallies. He talks about it over and over again. The only reason they're coming after me is because they're going to come after you.
It's true. And let me give you another twist on it. So this is another thing I like to ask people that hate Trump. Okay, so we just had this huge disaster. It's a worldwide disaster, and I'm going to bring it up again, Asheville, North Carolina. I know because I live close to that area. I know it very well. Yeah. Very well. Okay, it's a fluke on how that happened. Again, another story on that one. We'll do that later. Yeah. But my question is this. Okay, so you've insulted those people by telling them you're going to give them $750, by the way, which will have to be paid back. You know, it's not a gift like you're doing illegal aliens. The illegals come in here and you're going to give them all this money they'll never have to pay back. Plus, you even want to give them a $250,000 to build a house on. How fair is that to the working citizens of the United States?
Well, first off, you have to care about the United States before it becomes fair. If your goal is to destroy the United States from within, which Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower, a lot of people talked about that. The only way this country is going to die is from within. And that is where we're at. And here's the, I think, interesting part, that the Democrats think that you bring in all these illegal immigrants in to the country and they're going to vote Democrat. What they don't realize is they're bringing these people in and they're putting them in the battleground states, even here in Alabama, in a little town of Alabama. Well, I don't care what your mindset is. When you get here, you're going to have to interact with the locals and the people that are here. And they're going to tell you the truth. So if they're thinking that all of these people are going to vote just because they were brought here, but when the truth hits them and people start talking to them and telling them, no, you're here for one purpose, to vote for that person, no matter what they do. But I'm here to tell you what is going to happen if you do vote for them. And it's not good. I want to think about it. If, let's just say, which I hate to say this, that the administration now gets reelected. Do you think for a second they're going to care about all of those millions of people they brought in?
No. And let me tell you why. The neat thing about being my age is I've got to witness a lot of things that have happened in the world, a lot of events. Yep. 65 is pretty darn good. So let me tell you this. Okay, so now you remember the 1960s, they were trying, this has been going on a long time. It hasn't just happened under Barack Obama. Okay, so they tried to pit the blacks and the whites against each other. They tried their best to do that. Well, that's not worked, because I've got a lot of black friends now. I love and I treasure our friendships.
Absolutely.
It didn't work. Okay, then they tried to get the blacks and pit them against the Latinos.
Yep.
Okay, they try to start it didn't entirely work with the whites and the blacks. So let's see if we can pit the Latinas and the blacks against each other. Now they're doing Latinas and the Haitians. So they're trying to get them against each other. It's all about division. That's all it is. If you get them all mad at each other, where they won't speak to each other, that's how you can take over a country.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan. The Communist Manifesto tells you to cause massive chaos in the country.
That's what they're doing.
This is what China did, right? You had all of this famine, everything that was going on. The monetary system collapsed, etc. It did all of that for a purpose. And then the government stood up going, okay, we will rescue you. Yeah, all you got to do now is start believing in the government, and we're going to take care of you. This is this is how it works. Mm-hmm. But what happened when the communist government took over? Anybody that was still left that fought against knew what was going to happen. They killed them. Mm-hmm. Millions of people. Same thing happened in Russia, etc. Millions of people died fighting this communist government because they did not want to give up their freedom. So now you got people that are coming from the same type of environment. Mm-hmm. They come into the United States and they're saying the government now is going to take care of me. But if the administration continues, they're going to find out that they don't care. All they wanted you to do is push a button to get voted on. And all of that money, everything that they paid you is going to be gone.
It most certainly is.
Because they have to shift that money to other things once they get elected.
Yeah, like their paycheck for one. Yeah.
Right.
We've got to go into a commercial. Let's go into a commercial break. Let's go into a commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a minute. Everybody hang in there, okay? We got to pay for this, bud. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityyusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
You ask and we listen. We're finally bringing the most requested offer ever. Get the queen size premium MyPillow, now only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill. It adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get our 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets only $25. Our brand new mattress topper as low as $69.98. Get our famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25 and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today. From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Continue sending emails, by the way. I love receiving emails from you. It just makes my day. Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. I have a good buddy with me right now, Gunny, and Gunny is ex-military. He has his own talk show, the Patriot Cause, and it's always good to have you on the show, Gunny. I look forward to every single time we can meet up.
Absolute blessing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this great show.
Well, I have a blast with it. I wanted to ask you another question. Okay, so folks coming to here from another country, and illegal aliens is what we call them. I have a daughter-in-law who's from Russia, by the way, who is an American citizen. We celebrate October the 2nd every single year as her becoming an American citizen. She's that serious about it. She knows what it's like to live in a communist country. And her number one thing that she says all the time is these people have no clue. They, people who say, oh, communism is okay, it's cool to be a communist. And she said, they are so incredibly stupid. They don't know what it's like to live in a communist. It's not fun. It's not a good thing. You'll never own anything. Okay, let's talk about Kamala Harris. Well, says she's mentioned several times a little thing called capital gains. Now, we know what capital gains could mean in several different issues. First of all, Grandma has owned her house. It's been paid for. She paid $10,000 for it in the 1930s. And so, it's actually appreciated in value there. Okay. What capital gains actually means is Grandma's going to have to pay taxes on that profit, whether she sells it or not. She's going to have to pay that. Guess what? Grandma's probably going to have to, go ahead and take a loan out on that, which means Grandma's going to be paying a house payment again, even though her house is completely paid for. Now, if we give illegals $250,000, there won't be a capital gains on that. They're not going to have to pay squat. But now Grandma, we care about Grandma, right? She's going to have to start taking out a loan and making a payment so that she can pay the taxes that the profit she's made as capital gains. What does that tell you?
Well, here's the thing. This is not going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be recurring, right? Because their goal is to bring in as much money to support and grow the government.
Got to pay for it.
Right. All right. So two things. Number one, my house has doubled since I bought it. Right. So if I had to pay capital gains tax on the, equity involved in it, I'd have to sell stuff. It's impossible for me to come up with that, $50,000-$60,000 to pay the taxes on this. But then let's say I do it, figure it out, pull investments, IRAs, whatever, and I pay that. Well, guess what? Now it goes up another $10,000 or $12,000 next year.
It's an endless cycle.
It's in a cycle. Now, here's the second part of this. Now, we're going to give these illegal aliens $250,000 to buy a house, right? So let's say they buy this house. Well, the law is not going to exempt them. So now they have this house. Now it grows in equity, and now they are going to be part of paying the taxes on a house.
Not if they stay illegal. If they don't become American citizens, they don't. They're going to be much better off than we are.
Well, the thing about the way the laws work in those situations is there's no exception. If you own property, here's the law. It affects you. Doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. It really doesn't. The green card carrying people, same thing. They have to pay taxes. You're saying, well, if you're legal, means that you don't have a Social Security number. I think that's where you're going. So there's no way to monitor those types of taxes. However, this law is not going to be based on whether or not you have a Social Security number. It's going to be based on property, and they're going to monitor every single property, doesn't matter who's in it, to get those taxes. It doesn't matter if you're legal or not. Guarantee you.
It's an endless cycle. Yep. So you just keep bringing, but then again, wasn't that kind of meshy? Well, we won't have elections anymore. Never mind. I was about to say, that'll take care of that, because I was going to say people would remember that and vote Republican next time, maybe.
Not once.
I wasn't thinking ahead.
Yep. If they win this, elections are history.
We're done.
We're done. Unless we can clean out the communists. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, we got a really good chance of cleaning out the communists right now if people get out and vote, because this is
exactly.
Okay, think about less than 20. I forgot what the exact number was. Now, we're talking about God's country here in Alabama, okay? All right, so less than 20% of people in the state of Alabama voted at the primary.
I know.
Less than 20%. What does that tell you? When hardworking Christian folks don't get out and vote, what does that do?
Well, it's a catch-22 because Alabama has turned massively Republican over the years, and they don't think that their voice counts because, it's going to be all right. There's enough people that are going to keep it going. So they're not involved in it. But what they don't understand is it only takes one vote difference between a Republican or a Democrat to take an office. The same thing happened in Florence. In Florence, there were 17% of Republicans that voted in that district for, I don't know if it was school council, whatever. But then all these Democrats, all these liberals, communists got elected because they refused to vote, thinking, I live in Alabama. So, at a local level, we're already seeing it. We're seeing the impact of people not doing or going out there and vote. But here's the strange part, Donna, is what I don't understand is this. We're American citizens. We have the right to vote. And it's a responsibility to vote. That was ingrained in us as we were growing. To keep our country, you got to vote. Yep. So it became a responsibility. This is what's missing, is people do not believe anymore that their vote counts. I think the idea that they do not understand is it's a responsibility. That's the hard part to get people across. If you want to stay in a country as an American and be free, then you vote for your freedom. If you don't and you lose it, right?
Okay. So I think a lot of it's just plain old laziness. Don't want to get dressed up, and you don't even have to worry about dressing up anymore, because I'm just telling you, people can go anyway in their pajamas if they want to nowadays.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
no pride in that. So if that's the whole problem, I don't care if you do wear pajamas. Go vote.
On both sides, doesn't matter. What I like is when people go vote, they're using their freedom of the ability to use their voice. And to me, it doesn't matter what you believe in. What does matter is you don't vote. And what that means is you don't care about your freedoms in America. That's the issue. How do we get back to teaching our children and our teenagers, and specifically our young adults in their 20s and their 30s, that if you sit on the sidelines, you are going to accept whatever comes your way. So again, let me give you a great example. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. When I was in the military, we had this person called the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States. He could send us wherever he wanted to as Marines. The Marine Corps can be sent anywhere for 90 days without the approval of Congress. Nobody knows that, but that is the truth. So let me ask you this. If I was in the service, why would I vote? Because it doesn't matter who's the president. It's irrelevant to me. However, that's not the point. If I vote and I lose, at least I put my voice out there. At least I use my freedom to speak about what I feel as a service member and who I want to lead me in this country. Why can't American citizens think the same way? You know, local election, like a sheriff, for instance, very, very simple way to look at this, right? If I'm saying, well, I don't want to get involved in elections because it doesn't matter who the sheriff is, you know, they're going to do sheriff things. Well, what if that sheriff turns into be a communist, right? And what they'll do is they will squish the abilities of the sheriff deputies to do their job because, you know, they don't want to have people think that, you know, that they're doing wrong, you know, and they'll come into the, you know, they'll get arrested for this and that, and they'll leave without bail, you know, etc. But a true sheriff, a person that cares about you, will not let that person out unless they are convinced through the justice system, right, that that person made a mistake, understood that mistake, whether small or large. Of course, if it's large, he's going to spend a lot of time in prison. But the point is, a sheriff's responsibility is to protect the citizens from people that want to do harm. And his or her responsibility is not to release that person back into that environment until they are confident they will not commit further crime.
That's true.
If you don't vote for a sheriff and you get these, you know, George Soros funded people in there, right? It's already been proven they're going to release them over and over again. Great example. There was 3 guys arrested in New York for stealing. When they came in, they did the background checks on them. Between those 3 people, they had over 300 arrests. 300 arrests between 3 people. And all 3 of them were released again. It's a cycle. They don't care.
Well, and let me mention one other thing too. You know, what's your opinion? This is huge. There's a lot of people don't vote. They say, well, I'm not even going to vote for the primary. I'm just going to go out and I'm going to vote during the presidential thing because it's just small. You know, it's the city council. That's, you know, they consider these, you know, small offices. I don't consider those small offices. It's extremely important, in my opinion, that you got not only the big one, not only the big guy, but it's also important that you have the right city council members and the right mayors, even now more so because, see, there was a time when they were flying people, illegals in, they were busing them into New York, to Chicago, to wherever, the big cities. Now they're bringing them in our backyard. And if you got city council members who won't stand up for something, and the reason I think they're going into small towns now is because somebody's being paid for all this stuff. They're either buying houses from them. Something is happening. So they're buying houses from them, and they're crooked now. It's extremely important that you know who your city council members are, because in my opinion, and I think this is the truth, you tell me whether I'm wrong about this or not, city council members are actually there for the citizens of their town, aren't they? Are they there for them or for illegals?
No, they're for the citizens that are American citizens.
Supposed to
be. A legal person that comes in here, right, does not have the right to vote. They don't have, you know, many different rights that we have, right? And a lot of people don't get what I'm fixing to say, but they actually do not have the right of legal counsel. You're saying, well, wait a minute, it's a human being. But see, they're not citizens, right? The Constitution does not apply to these people. This is the difficulty that people don't understand. In the Constitution, it states, right, what a citizen is and what a person that is not a citizen and what their rights are. For instance, like the Bill of Rights does not apply to illegal aliens. It doesn't apply to people outside. So let me add this to you. Think about what I'm going to tell you. You have different terminologies that go out there. This is going to help you understand, even down to the local level, what is the issue here, right? You have a person that applies to come into the United States through the normal immigration process, right? So that person is what is called an immigrant, right? That means they're in the system. They're going through the process to become a U.S. citizen. That's called an immigrant, right? An alien, you got to use this terminology. People use illegal. No, forget it. Throw the word illegal out. Just say alien. An alien is a person outside of our country that comes in without the approval or going through the process to immigrate. Think about what I'm telling you. Immigrate into the country. So these people are aliens. In the Constitution, it tells the government what to do with aliens. It's simple. They come in, they're deported. No questions asked. But now we're using this illegal alien, right, that comes in. And then we're also talking about what Kamala Harris and those people are saying, that these are migrants. Migrants, right? So what is a migrant? According to the Constitution, a migrant is a person that goes through the process. To migrate, they're not migrants. They're aliens that are being brought from here and dropped into the country. They have no rights, but yet the government that we have today gives them those rights.
So, I mean, for the people who don't understand, this is just the grand scheme of things. This has been planned, and this has been planned for decades. It's almost like a snowball effect. You just feed them a bite at a time. They won't notice. Don't worry about it. Well, the problem is we've been filled up to our belly, and we're noticing it now.
Absolutely. And think about this, Donna, is if this is not a global effort, then the United States would be the only one dealing with this, aliens being brought in and placed into our country. But we know that's not the truth. It's happening all over the world, specifically the Western side. So here's the coup de grace to this. Explain to me why the Muslim countries are not bringing in aliens into their country, but the Western side is. Not only that, the Palestinians, great example, right? The Palestinians could have been absorbed by Jordan as citizens of Jordan and built their country up. But see, even Jordan will not bring these people into their country. And they're Muslims. You want to know why? Is because their idea, their conception of the Muslim world is different than Jordan. Okay, which is good, right? Well, why is America not thinking the same way? We can't bring people into our country and drop them in if they are not, and excuse me, the same attitude, the same mindset as American citizens. This is deep. This is huge. This explains why Donald Trump is saying day one, we are going to deport millions of people back. This is the number one issue that needs to be resolved to get our country back into a republic of the states of the United States and eliminate the federal government from infiltrating the state's powers to control their territory.
And another thing is some people will say, oh, it'll cost so much money to send them back. But look at all the money we're paying them every single month. It's a
lot less. You know how much You know how much a plane ticket for a person to go from the U.S. back to Venezuela? Probably about $900, one-way trip, right? Mm-hmm. But that guy that got here 4 years ago, well, guess what? He's been making $3,000 a month, $36,000 per year. So you're talking, he's already got six figures for being here for 4 years. So what's $900 to send him back? Nothing.
True. Absolutely.
That's the stupidest excuse that anybody can come up with. How much it's going to cost?
I keep hearing all these dumb. I mean, it's just like, okay. So what they hope is that you've been raised through Common Core, for your educational system, and you just simply can't think on your own. You just do whatever we tell you to do, and we're going to take care of you. They'll pull that rug out from under you like in 2 seconds, and you will have nothing. Then you're going to be back on the streets again.
Yeah.
I've just heard too many things. My daughter-in-law, who actually grew up in a communist country, Russia, to tell you what it's really like being in a communist country. And I'll have to tell you, nobody gets more upset than she does about people who don't come in the right way.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the good news about what's going on that I'm seeing.
Yeah, about 2 minutes left in this segment.
Yep. Real quick. The good news is I think the churches are finally standing up and speaking about voting, speaking about being involved in the government, because there is no, this separation of church and states is completely wrong, that people don't understand. The reason behind that is the government, the federal government, cannot tell the church what to do. That's the separation part. Doesn't mean that the church cannot be involved in government issues and elections. People need to understand that. And we need to get more Christians out there and vote, get involved in your community, get involved in the national elections, etc.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There is just no other way out. Gunny, thank you so much for being with me. It's always such a pleasure. And I'm so glad we're friends.
Absolutely.
I want more friends like you.
The strange part is we live right down the road, like 5 miles or so from each other, and we still haven't met personally. So we got to do that.
Yeah, man, we got to be buddies. We got to go out to eat sometime. I mean, we keep saying we're going to do this.
Yep.
And we got to get our spouses and let's just go somewhere.
I'll send you an email. Let's do it. Let's get out there and do it.
Let's do it. And thank you so much for watching. You're the reason we do this. And thank you so much for the emails. I definitely appreciate it. Whether we agree or not, I love hearing from you. Absolutely. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the day, and we'll see you next time. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319 and let's think of the possibilities.